New episode of Learning Photography on YouTube. Today we are going to talk about how to meter light with your own camera. Right now, intro. Welcome to my channel and welcome to episode 7 of Learning Photography on YouTube. If you're here for the first time and you don't want to miss the next episodes of this photography course, it might be a good idea to subscribe. Finally, Learning Photography on YouTube is outdoor. I am in this beautiful reservoir, which is maybe 10 miles away from where I live. Nevertheless, it is time to take some photos together. But before doing that, I would like to show you some of your photos from the last Exposed to the Right assignment. Thanks to everyone for participating to this photo assignment. And by the way, since I received a lot of comments about making a dedicated video to the Exposed to the Right technique, I promise I will be working on it. So it will come soon. So how to properly meter light with your camera. In the previous episodes of this photography course, we saw different exposure techniques. We saw when and why to use aperture priority. We saw when and why to use shutter speed priority. But no matter which camera settings you are going to use, in order to have a proper exposure, you will always rely on the light metering system of your own camera. So it is important to understand which options do you have, which modes are available, and when is more appropriate to use each one of them. Nothing really very complicated here, but if you didn't watch the episodes dedicated to exposure, aperture, and shutter speed, I do recommend to watch them first. It will be a lot easier to follow this video. So let's see how this light metering process works. The camera measures light by reading the reflecting light from your object or your scene in your photo. And then it will calculate the proper exposure. Every camera brand has at least 3 different metering modes. Let's check them out one by one. The first metering mode, which on a Nikon camera is called matrix mode, but on other brands, of course, will have different names, is an evaluative mode, where the camera is metering the light from all the areas of your photo. And then it will average all the different readings in order to calculate the proper exposure. It is also important to say that while using this metering mode, although the camera will measure the light from the entire scene, it will always prioritize the area that is in focus. For my landscape photography, I use the matrix mode, the evaluative mode, most of the times, possibly 90% of the times. And with my Nikon D810, I am rarely unsatisfied with the result. But maybe we should take a picture here, as of course I see some peers using the matrix mode.
I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm going in circles, going in circles. I should get away from here. There's a better place for me.
As you can see, here is my composition. I have my histogram on my display, so I am always able to track how the exposure will work for this photo. And in this case, in the bottom left corner, you can see that I selected the matrix mode. And let's take a photo.
Play my symphony.
So this is my image, and of course it is a RAW file, so I will be able to open the shadows in Lightroom afterwards.
I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm going.
The second metering mode is called center weighted mode, and I'm sure that you have a good guess about which area of the photo this mode will prioritize to read the light. And if you guess the center, you are correct. So this mode is typically used when the subject of your photo is right in the center of your frame and you are not particularly interested in what happens in the corners or in the different areas of your image. As a matter of fact, this mode will not be reading the light from anywhere else but the center. As I mainly take landscape photography, and most of the times my foreground and my background are not in the center and too far apart from each other, I rarely use the weighted center mode. But nevertheless, let's find a good composition to use this mode. So for instance, in this scene I am in aperture priority and I have selected f8, as you can see. And if I use the center weighted metering mode, my shutter speed is 1/20. While if I instead select the matrix mode, you can see that my shutter speed became 1/40. Not a huge difference in this case, but clearly if my attention is right in the center of the scene, I want to use the center weighted mode. And let's take this photo. And the third metering mode is the spot metering. In this mode, the camera will take its light metering just where you will place the focus point. So this is a very restrictive light metering mode, but very precise and accurate at the same time. So whenever you want your camera to meter the light in a very, very small part of the frame, this is the mode to use. So let's find a composition where I can use this mode.
I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm going.
Here I saw these leaves that are lit from behind, from the sun, and I will show you what happens when using the matrix mode or the spot metering mode. ISO 64 f8.
I'm going in circles, going in circles. I should get away from here. There's a better place for me, better place for me. Trying to play my symphony.
But no matter which metering mode I will be using, I will always check my display afterwards in order to see if the exposure matches my expectations and if my histogram, you remember the histogram video here? Well, I want to make sure that my histogram capture all the data possible. If I'm not happy with the result of the exposure in my photo, I might try to take another photo and adjust the exposure using the exposure compensation. I think this deserves a video by itself, so in the future I will do a video about this if you are interested. Are you interested? Exposure compensation video? Let me know in the comments, as usual. So what do you think? Shall we have an assignment? You have no choice. I think so. In order to create a full awareness of the different exposure modes, I would like you to use the spot metering mode for this assignment. So take a picture of whatever you want, a portrait, a landscape, a still life, but use the spot metering mode. And because I like to see your photos and I would like to share them with everyone else in the next episode of Learning Photography on YouTube, why don't you post them on Instagram? Use the hashtag LPOY Learning Photography on YouTube _metering, and why not? Tag me, Attilio Photography. And if you follow me on Instagram, you might know that we did pick the hashtag for this community where you guys, beside the assignments, you can always post photos and ideally comment and interact with everybody else. The hashtag is Attilio Photo Club. Nice and simple. I saw already over 500 photos under the hashtag, so follow Attilio Photo Club. In the next episode of Learning Photography on YouTube, we will talk about the most important thing of all: composition. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that you learned something new today. If you want to help me to let YouTube know that this is a good content, why don't you hit the like button right now? And if you want to see more videos like this, consider to subscribe. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.